The first S is the S of state. You need to be in a good state. The second S is the S of story. What stories are you telling yourself? And then the final S is the S of strategies. Do you have the right strategies that you need in order to prosper in your purpose? To purpose and prosperity seekers. You are here because you refuse to separate money from purpose. Because money without purpose is meaningless. And purpose without money is very frustrating and it is less impactful. And of course, you want to make a difference in Africa, in the world. You want to make a difference. So that is why you are here. So I am going to lay the foundation for our conversation with Uputi. And what I want to talk about today is the 3 S's that you need for your prosperity breakthrough. The 3 S's that you need for your prosperity breakthrough. Now, I know that you come here in this room with a powerful question, and your question is, how do I make money from my purpose? That's the question that brings you here. How do I make money from my purpose? I know that for many of us, we are struggling to make money from purpose. It is difficult. We find ourselves that you're working hard, you love what you do, you feel called, but the money is not there. So you try different things, but still the money is not there. Why is that? Because there is a gap between purpose and prosperity, and that is what we are wanting to bridge today. That gap between purpose and prosperity and what it is. Just to lay the foundation, I'm going to talk about 3 S's. The first S is the S of state. You need to be in a good state. The second S is the S of story. What stories are you telling yourself? And then the final S is the S of strategies. Do you have the right strategies that you need in order to prosper in your purpose? So just to speak about state, I'm going to share a story. But before I share a story, what I would like you to do is, I would like you to, please humor me. I would like you to just bow your shoulders like this. Just bow your shoulders and look down like this. And then say, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Can you say that out loud? Bow your shoulders, look down and say, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Okay. Now look up. And just chest out and say, I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
What's the difference? Was there a difference?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's
the one was like, the first one, it felt like I'm hiding. And the second one, I'm owning the statement. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say it, you are owning it, but You're hiding it. So that shows the importance of alignment between our physiology as well as our emotion. That is our state, and that importance of being in a good state for you to prosper. So to just give more light to that, I'm going to share a story of one of the coaching clients that I had. Her name is Gulungile. So she comes to me for coaching and she says, "Hey, Mama." She was referred by a client and a client in one of the other a la carte coaches. So she says to me, "Mama, I need to breathe." And I'm like, "What do you mean I need to breathe?" You know, as we speak, I check. No, she's got a job. She is fine. She's earning well. It's a good job, but she is anxious. And when she is not in a good state, we look at what is happening. And I realize that she has a story that she's telling herself. She has such a severe inner critic. The judge, the judge, each time she sends an email, the judge is telling her, no, that's not good enough. She speaks, she's with people, the critic, the inner critic, the judge is telling her, no, you are not good enough. You did not do well. It is just judging and judging her all the time. And she couldn't breathe. There's a time when I thought, hey, my child, I think maybe you need counseling. And then she says to me, no, Ma, I've been to counseling. It didn't help. Please, Ma. So I take her on Thrive a la carte. So we divide, strategies to change her state, strategies to change her story. And my goodness, I remember this one session. I was actually looking at the recording the other day. And then she says, oh, Ma, she comes to this session. And then she says to me, oh, Ma, you know what? I can breathe. I was so excited. She says, Ma, I can breathe. And she had her prosperity breakthrough. Changed her state, changed her story. Now she can, and I can assure you that I know without doubt that now she is on her path to even greater prosperity. And then a few weeks later, she says, oh, Ma, now this one, we've concluded the coaching, but she calls me, oh, Ma, you know what? We had a key performance review. A performance review, and I got 4 out of 5. Wow, I was so excited. And then a few weeks later, she says, oh, Ma, I got an award. I got an award as a the best key account manager for 2025. I got an award. And she says to me, oh, Ma, you should have seen me going to receive that award. I know that before I would have received the award, but I would have been so miserable. But when I went to receive that award, I was just like, oh, thank you, Lord. I was just so filled with confidence and gratitude. So that's Kulungile's story. And that is why in LYPP, we really make sure that we start with helping you with the state. Okay. But the main reason you are here is about money. So what money mindset do you need to have? What state do you need to be in to be able to make money? What story do you need to be telling yourself for you to be able to make money? And what strategies do you need? So you see, with Kulungile, we went with strategies on her state, strategies on her story. We didn't even go to strategies that work, because that was not the problem. That automatically was resolved. That was not the problem. Just solving those two. but you want strategies to make money. So that is what we're going to talk about with UPPA.